Hi again, Louise.
Hi again, Sarah.
We are talking about I Would Meet You Anywhere by Susan Kiyo Ito. Those people who are watching on YouTube can see the book, which is a beautiful cover. Um,
It really is.
I got to meet Susan,
Oh,
really rewarding to
hmm
meet her and get to hug her and talk, and it was really good.
I rarely have FOMO. I'm not a FOMO person, but I had it for that, especially while we're reading this. The first
Yeah,
thing I'm like, how great is she, Sarah?
she's so great. So
Oh,
great. Um,
well, this is, I would meet you in a hospital. It starts out. I
mhm.
was surprised by this, actually. I didn't know where this was going. I was surprised. So Yumi has a hysterectomy because of her fibroids, and she calls her and is like, I'm in the hospital, and tells her, almost like just that's their normal protocol. And then Susan, bold as she is, which I love about her, hops on a plane to go
Like,
there
and
without
then
even being invited.
not even being invited and then shows up at the hospital and they're like, well, are you family or friend? She's like, friend. And they said, okay, visiting hours aren't till 6. Because she thought, well, what would Yumi want? Yumi would want me to say that. So
Yeah. With her little suitcase. I just picture she's super bold,
very,
like on her own. It's not like you're doing this in a team or something. She's
yeah.
And she goes, which was interesting. She goes to see Yumi, and she's so Yumi. Okay, I thought she was going to go see her, and Yumi was going to be like, "Uh-oh, why are you here?" Because hospitals, everybody's coming. But she was all into seeing her and
And
loving
was
and
like, thank you for coming. You didn't have to do that. She wasn't her usual put together
glamorous.
self. She was vulnerable in the
Mm,
hospital is kind
yeah,
of the way Susan described her. And
yeah. I mean, she still looked good, but she was, you're in the hospital in a little gown, frail, not yourself.
yeah.
So then she goes, so then Yumi tells her, okay, see that JC Penney out the window? You need to go there for an for an hour. And I'm going to tell Mika who's coming about you.
Her other
Mhm.
daughter,
With her name.
with Susan's original name. And just shocking. I was
It's very
surprised
surprised.
reading that.
Me too. And I didn't know if she would. So then she goes off to JC Penney, which would be, I'm just picturing like wandering around like how people have told us, oh, you could come and be part of it, but don't tell anyone you're my kid. Like
Right.
all these weird, we've heard some strange things. So I picture her wandering JC Penney and coming back and being rejected. That's what I pictured. Or like, no, it's not happening. And she comes back and like the nurse is like, "Oh, well, if you come in, the other one has to leave." So she knocks on the door and she did tell her about her.
Yeah.
I was very
And
surprised.
it was kind of I guess a little awkward at first, but also Yumi was like, okay, girls, like
Yeah, I'm
this
tired.
intimate,
Yeah.
my daughters. Okay, girls, you go get something to eat. There's a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to sleep. So she went to sleep and the two of them went to have Chinese food. And it was so funny because Mika, obviously like a young, she's like, oh, she gave us $20. We can eat a lot at this place.
And also,
Susan's super independent and has her own
the-
money. And,
and then she also gave them, she shared her lipstick. Mika shared her lipstick with her. Do you want to share lipstick? Like
and Susan
getting
was like,
ready?
had never worn lipstick, I guess, which
I
is
just thought the whole thing, like, that the sister just kind of was like, okay, I have a sister, and off they went. I mean, she seemed a little angry and mad at the beginning, like I'm sure shocked. And
well,
another
and then
thing, she called her
also
Yumi. Did you notice that?
she called her Yumi. Mika was calling her own mother
Yes.
by her first name. I still wasn't quite clear. Was she doing that because of Susan, or is that actually how she refers to her mother?
Yeah,
It wasn't
I kind of thought,
clear.
well, and I don't know yet because we're not there, but I was wondering if maybe Yumi's the kind of person who didn't really, there's some grandmas who don't do grandma, they do not
Hmm.
even a cute name, Mimi, they do like with their name, right? It
Right.
won't be a grandma. I was kind of wondering if Yumi, because of the trauma she went through, sort of didn't mom hardcore, like sort of was a,
Well,
does that
when
make
we
sense?
have Susan on, I think these are questions she's going to answer for us.
You
That was one
probably
thing we
know.
talked about. She's like, there, every time you talk about the book and you have questions, and I want to answer them. So I think she
Darn
may
it. you know
For our
something I
season
don't know. I
finale,
can't take
she
it.
may just go through our questions and answer them for us. So we will ask her that.
We will ask her that, and I'm going to inquire about you knowing things.
But what I really also what the that Mika was like, she didn't tell you who your father is? Like,
Yes, she thought that was weird herself. Thank you
yeah.
very much,
Like
Mika.
what
That
the
is
heck?
weird.
Why hasn't she told you, you know? And so then which leads to the next chapter,
Right. What is the next
when
one called? I'm forgetting what it's called. I'm sorry. Long
it's
lost
long
daughter.
lost daughter, and she goes to meet Yumi's friend, who was the only person who
Yeah.
had seen Susan as a baby in the hospital.
That was kind of cool. And they stayed close,
Uh-huh.
friendly and
And he was really emotional when he met her, and they went to
yeah.
this little cabin with other friends and, this totally normal
Yeah.
little getaway, but yet not, you know.
And not and she missed, I thought it was sweet too in the middle of it, she missed her adopted father because he was a fisherman and they were like
Yeah.
catching fresh fish and then she has these two lives. That's the thing about the two lives. You can't really she's in that awkward position of you don't bring that up. You kind of do this life and then over here is this life. But it just reminded me of that weird how you always have a two life thing going on, all
Right.
adoptees when they're in this
Yeah, we're secrets. We are.
secrets and then you feel awkward sharing that with everybody else, but would they be hurt? It's that weird thing. And then I just like that the guy and his wife saw her when she was born. And there was a line in there where he said,
I think it was just him.
was it? But
It
the
was
wife
just him, and then there was another couple that
Oh,
was
that's right.
at
It was
the
another
yeah,
couple.
yeah.
And the couple said, "Where will you go?" I mean, where will she go? And she'll say, "Well, she'll stay here and I'll leave," when she had her.
Mm,
It's like taking it back home. Like, yep, that's
hmm.
the brutality of this. Until she went to pick her up in the cab, obviously. But it's
And
like she knows
still
more of her
hasn't
birth. Yeah.
but still doesn't know who her father is. And then they have another. So then Susan meets a man.
Yeah.
Actually, she'd met him, but she had dated him before, and then
Mm-hmm.
reconnected with him. And so she invited him to meet Yumi,
And the guy.
and and
Mm-hmm.
and the guy that
Mm-hmm.
Susan and Susan overheard them kind of having a bit of a heated discussion, and the boyfriend saying, "Well, John said,
Yeah.
she has a right to know,
Yeah. Which is
And
so cool when someone else steps in for you.
uh-huh.
I like John. I hope,
Yeah.
I wonder if that's, you probably know, but I'm wondering so she's
Well,
still married.
she marries him. That's the end of the chapter. She marries him,
Hmm.
and she invites Yumi, and she invites her parents, and
Hmm.
has a fishing
Yeah,
expedition, which was
it's
so great.
it's
Yeah,
so great. I mean, it's going along differently than I thought it would be, actually. Like Yumi, I don't know what's going to happen long term, but I'm surprised at the openness of Yumi, honestly.
I know.
So that
It could be that when you have a major health scare,
yes, I thought that
and
too.
you're facing your mortality and probably want to open up a little bit more. I mean,
Yeah.
because Susan eventually does find out who her father is. So we don't know when. I just know that.
Yeah, you know that. And I'm guessing that.
Yeah.
Well, this is awesome, and I can't wait for our finale because she will be coming on here for the
Yes.
finale to answer all
Yes.
all my burning questions and my FOMO.
Yes. Also, listeners, if you have questions,
Oh, that's
although
a good
you
idea.
go ahead and send us a message and we can ask Susan when we have her on.
Yeah, and even if you don't have a question, but you have something you want to say about this season with reading this book, how it affected
Mm-hmm.
you, tell us, and then we can bring that up with Susan on the podcast and give you a shout out. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Good idea. All right.
Okay.
Well,
So now we
yeah,
have Crystal
Chris.
coming on.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yep. So, Louise,
See you in a minute.
see you in a minute.